bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Good Monday evening. Welcome into the high school fan zone on the last Monday in March, which is exciting for some reasons, especially because spring is officially here. My mind works on sports calendars, so soccer ended last week for me. Now I can start focusing on spring sports, and because April's here, that means Major League Baseball started, and we're 5 days away from the Final Four, 6 days away. I can ask my guest here. I'm going to guess she knows when the women's Final Four actually kicks in. I know it's one day or before. This is the high school fan zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're on the Mustang fan zone. If you're watching on TV, to my left is brand new Coronado girls basketball coach Katie Ferrell. Ferrell, not Ferrell, right?
Ferrell, yes, sir.
Okay, I should have asked before we clicked on. Women's Final Four starts before the men's, or?
Yes, it'll be the Final Four is this Friday, what is that, the 4th?
Yes, Friday and Sunday.
Yeah, both those games, and then Sunday will be the championship game. They
used to switch it, and it used to be Sunday and Tuesday, which it was confusing. Part of me almost wishes, and I know they won't, although they've done weird things with the women's tournament now.
For sure.
I almost wish they could put the Final Fours together to help attendance for both of them. So you have the potential of 8 different schools, but they haven't called to check with me yet. And I could ask Katie about that because she's the new Coronado coach. She spent the last 2 years as an assistant coach at Lubbock High with my buddy Brent Palmer. But before that, spent a year at Texas Tech with Krista Gerlich.
Yes, sir.
Before that, 4 years at UTA, also part of that time with Krista Gerlich.
Yes, sir.
She knows her college basketball as well. She knows. We were just talking about some of the stuff here. I started to talk about it, and I thought, don't jump into that pool. That's not a conversation you want to have with this young lady because she knows her stuff much more than I do. So. But first of all, congratulations. I heard Chuck Hines got a hold of you down there.
Yes,
and I was glad that somebody got you away from Chuck, because when you get pulled into the Chuck vortex, sometimes it's hard to get pulled away. You got to know Chuck a little bit, of course. He's the Lady Raiders color guy on the radio, so I know you got to hang out with him a little bit and you're with them. This is the Coronado job is a good job. I don't think I'm telling you anything. I don't think I'm breaking news to you. Ashley James, former coach, headed back to the Metroplex to be closer to family. But the tradition-wise now, you're walking into a situation where you're walking into a district.
Tough district.
That you already know pretty well. It's got a state champion in it. It's got an Amarillo and Tascosa teams that were in the state, regional championship. Did they play each other last year? No, they both got to the regional tournament last year. The Lubbock High team that has made strides year after year with Brent. Coronado slipped a little bit the last couple of years, but not too far off the map. How excited are you to get in there and start implementing what you've learned from all the different coaches you've coached with?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like you said, with all the different coaches I've had throughout the years, I think have shaped me, and not only as a player, but as a coach as well. So I'm very excited to implement different things that I've picked up along the way. Coronado, like you said, we kind of had a down year this past year, but I think we're young, and we really have a chance to make some noise this next year. Now that we got a couple of those kids who are now juniors, and they got to take over that leadership role, and find out kind of I guess I'll find out who will take that leadership role here coming soon. But we also got another freshman who will be coming in to Coronado, who I think will be great for us. But I'm excited. I'm very excited to get in there and get to work and really implement the different things that I've kind of learned along the road.
Have you met your players yet?
Yes, actually today I got to meet everybody, so I'm excited. Yes.
So this is a whirlwind day. You get to.
I've been busy. It's been a busy day.
Radio. You get to hang out with Chuck Hines. You get to meet new players.
It's a great day.
You knew the players a little bit from coaching against them. You saw that. I always think that's that's a helpful ingredient when you've coached against them. You've kind of looked at them in a different light. And you're right. There are some talented kids coming back. Who are a couple that you recognized right away when you met them?
Yeah, Graceland, she's one, as well as Cameron Hill.
Yes.
She's going to be a big one, I think, for us. Sanaya Brown. Those three are all actually sophomores right now, so they'll be juniors next year. But they've played a lot of basketball together the last 2 years, obviously, and I know they've been on some AAU teams together as well. And then, like I said, we'll have a freshman coming over from Hutch, whose mom is actually works at our school, who I think will be a big time player for us. But yeah, those were the three that I kind of saw, and I think we'll have a big role on this coming season.
You're a player coming from Hutch. You're going to have to talk to Brent about that at some point.
Oh, I know.
Because I told you before we came on, my daughter's a Lubbock High student who went to Hutch, and that's one of the feeder schools, and that's. You will soon learn, being a coach in Lubbock, that coaches get territorial about which kids are. But you know what? My thing is, kids should go where they're comfortable.
I agree.
And go play for coaches who they want to play for.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they're not going to have a very good time.
And her sister is actually a former Coronado grad who is now playing college basketball. I believe Air Force.
Are you talking about Maya Smith?
Yes, sir, I am.
I'm sorry, Kaya Smith.
Yes.
So you'll be forgiven then, because Mom, Micah, and Miss Micah's listening. Micah played AAU basketball for my late father.
Really?
Yes.
That's all small world.
Yes. And Micah, you want to have somebody come and work your girls hard in practice. Get Micah to come.
That's
to
your girl. Okay.
No, she's not. She's a very high level teacher now at Coronado, and Dad is principal at Dunbar. So Kaya is one of my favorite girls of all time that I've covered since I've had my site. Watch some video of her at Army or at Coronado. That's a good example. And little sister's got a little edge to her.
Absolutely. I'm excited. Kaylee, yes.
Yeah,
I think, like I said, she'll be a big-time player for us, and I can't wait to I actually met with her today, and I'm like, what are your long-term goals with basketball? And she told me, I want to go play in college, and I told her, I'll help you get there.
There you go.
So, like I said, I'm very excited to have her as well.
The very first time I met her, like I said, I've known Micah and Will, actually covered Will when he played football at Monterey. I've known those two for years. The first time I met her, Kaya was there, and I said, if you learned a lot from Big Sister, she goes, I'm tougher than her. This is when she was in 5th grade.
I love it.
She was ready.
I like that edge.
There you go.
I played with an edge, so
and that's
I love that she has that.
That's Coronado DNA right there.
Yes.
So that's Lubbock and West Texas DNA.
Absolutely, it is.
We're coming up on a break, but we're going to come back in the Mustang Fan Zone, talk more to Katie about the new job and kind of what lies ahead on the high school fan zone. This is the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Coronado athletics. You're listening to the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the second segment of the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta with Katie. I'm going to let you say the last name again. Ferrell, to make sure we get it right. The new Coronado girls basketball coach steps into a very tradition-rich program that last few years have been a little lean, but we were talking in between breaks that we were talking about Kaya Smith. The last time Coronado was in the playoffs, I believe, they may have been 1 year after that, but the last year they had a really competitive, really good team was Kaya's senior year. They won 24 games, won 8-4 in district. That was a district that included at the time Aaliyah Chavez, included the Lubbock Cooper group that went on and finished second in the state. So that was a good team that held its own. So you're not too far removed from having some success, having girls who have tasted success.
Absolutely.
When you step into those halls, first of all, you're going to work for a very good principal in Chris Huber, one of my favorite dudes, and his reading list is incredible. You need to check with him on that.
Oh, for sure.
It's Candy Stevens, the volleyball coach, and I've talked about this. Coronado had they bottomed out here a couple years ago. I don't think they won district in anything. I don't know if they got to the playoffs or anything, but they've started to kind of build that back up. You're coming into a situation where you have a chance to kind of relight the flame. How do you do that as a first-time head coach?
Yeah, I think getting in there and building relationships with the kiddos is key. I think relationships go a long way, especially in women's basketball. As whenever those kids know that you're there for them and you're going to fight for them and all those things, they're willing to run through a brick wall for you. I want my team to play with passion. I want us to have grit. I want us toughness, all those things, doing the little things. I think that's something maybe they've lacked in the last couple of years, is just doing those little things. Finishing games. They had, I can't tell you, probably 4 or 5 games this past year that they lost in single digit margins. So I told them today, y'all lost a couple of close games this past year. I want to win those games this year. And I think that takes toughness. I think it takes grit. I think it's hard work. That's how I was as a player, diving on loose balls, doing things that no one else wants to do. And that's kind of how my identity as a player, and now as a coach, I want my team to kind of inherit that and take on my personality in that aspect of things as well. And I think if we're able to do that, we'll be all right.
We were talking in between breaks, or on the break here, you have to get to the playoffs, or you have to have success to kind of start snowballing.
Absolutely.
And what you just said about the little things, winning those close games. You win a close game early in the season, that all of a sudden kids' shoulders are a little bit higher, and you realize, hey, I can do this.
Yes, I agree. And like I said, that's something that I think some of those close games that they may have lost last year, I think as long as we go in there and we follow the game plan, we continue to work hard, continue to get better, some of those games will go our way this year. And I think that's it. It's kind of the identity of a young team. A lot of times I think a young team, those things happen, losing those close games. Now that we have some of that experience, now that the core group will be juniors, like I said, I think some of those games that maybe they dropped or should have won, we can get done now this year with some leadership, upper class leaderships. Like I said, some of those kids will have to step into that role, and I'm excited to kind of see which kids it is. Some kids are more of vocal leaders, where others are they lead by action, right? So I'm excited to get in there and see kind of who our vocal leaders are, who maybe just kind of leads with action. But I'm excited to see who fills that role.
I think you've got 2 built-in advantages, and I had this same exact conversation with Parker Hicks, the Liberty Boys coach, who I think was a contemporary of yours. Was he at Texas Tech when you were? He played on the Texas Tech team that went to the national championship game.
I think he may have been before I got there. Yeah.
The advantage you have is that I'm looking at a picture of you in a Texas Tech uniform. You can take that to your girls and say, look, I'm not kidding. This is where I was.
Absolutely.
You can also show them that state championship ring that you have.
There you go.
At Plano Senior High.
Yes,
correct?
sir. The best one.
Kids understand that. They don't. I'm a teenager dad, so we can't always relate to them on every level, but they see championships and what you've done. They understand. So
Absolutely.
I think those are built-in advantages for you.
I agree. Yeah. And I think it's great because of the relatability aspect of things. I'm not far off from college basketball and playing as a player, and I think relating to the kids in that aspect is huge. And just giving them little pointers, because a lot of them do want to go play at the next level, and just being able to help them, because like I said, I'm pretty fresh off of it, is an advantage for me.
And I'm looking forward to see what Katie does, because basketball season never really ends in West Texas. So We'll be back after the break on the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.